put too much oil in, just a little bit, just enough for it to warm up. Cover the bottom of the pan in a very thin layer. Right, when heating oil before a stir fry, you can do it on a high heat. As soon as you put anything in, it goes down to a low heat. You can see that I've got a pack of green beans here. They're going to be added once the steak is browned. I'm also going to season it later on. Alright, water's boiling. Put in the amount of rice you want. This is just going to be for the one person, so I don't want a great deal. I know the measurements, but you can use the back of the packet if you need to. Got a quick chance to get ready. What you need to do. You can see there's a bit of smoke coming off the top. Just tells you that the oil is now hot and ready for the steak. Onto the lowest heat to begin with. Make sure you don't get anything on you. Pop it out. Drain off some of the sauce and just drop it down. Being very careful not to get yourself splashed. Easier said than done. Hang on, please. As it's a stir fry, it's a fairly instant cook. You need a wooden spoon just to mix it around. As with all stir fries, continually mix. Do not let it to sit and cook on one side and not the other. Tender up the beef for a few seconds. The amount of beans that you actually need. Try not to spill them everywhere as I just did. Okay, actually quite large, so I'm just going to halve them. Make sure you're always using separate knives for each, separate chopping boards, so on and so forth. Vegetables are okay to do together, obviously meat's not, especially raw meat. Right. As you can see, those are cooking quite well. Beginning to brown up. Been in for about 40 seconds to a minute. And just turn up the heat a little bit. Okay, that's sizzling again. We'll chop in the beans. Okay, you can just add them liberally. Going to season later anyway, but just want them to cook for 4 to 5 minutes. Now, a little trick with the rice, so that it doesn't stick, we recommend is that you place your spoon in just after it's started and mix it around. You'll feel on the bottom of the pan that the rice is already beginning to stick, but you only actually need to do this once and you pretty much do it. It also helps just boil the rice evenly, make sure it's all cooked the same, you don't get any hard bits, any soft bits. Okay, just mix that in there. Turn up the heat a little to medium. See the beans are starting to change their colour a little. While that's cooking, I'm just going to place away the beans and have a quick check the recipe, make sure everything's going to plan. It's something you should do no matter how many times you've done it. Just keep an eye on that recipe. Something to drain your rice in a nip. Some of these. Place that ready. While we go a second and we get drinks, knives and forks, everything like that. You can have this with a range of things. It's very nice with a rosé, but then what isn't? I'm going to go for water. Basically, because we don't have anything else currently waiting, but it is nice with a good rosé. There's some Humboldt Coast there. That is very good stuff. I'm doing this in a wok, just allows it to simmer quite nicely. That's what I tend to do with stir fries and most people as well, but you can do it in a saucepan. As long as you make sure it doesn't overflow. You can tend to spit a lot more with the saucepan as well, so wok just gives you some cover. Now this has got about 1 minute left. As you can see, the steak's started to brown up really quite nicely. Don't want to overdo it, so rather than leave it the extra minute, I'm going to pop in the sauce a little bit early and turn down the heat. Alright, one thing that you can do at this point, if you've got the chance, is just to add a bit of pepper, black pepper. Pop it in, season it up nicely. Now, it looks like I'm putting quite a lot in, but actually there's not much coming out. So don't overdo it. As with everything, too much of anything is a bad thing. And too little, and you won't taste it. So just get as much out as you think is necessary. Try it once. Next time you do it, you can add more or less depending on what you think. Personally, I like quite a bit of black pepper myself. Just gives it an extra bit of taste. Add that to the soya and the orange, which is already mixed in and nicely with the steak, and you've got a lovely meal. I'm going to turn that heat down a little bit. We're going to bring this sauce to the boil once it goes in, so it's going to spit and it's going to be heavy. But it's going to be worth it. Sauce is the key thing, that's what's going to make this meal really lovely. I mean, you've got minimal vegetables, minimal heat, and you're just going to have it with rice. That's why I tend to have it with jasmine, to give it a little bit extra. So the pepper and the orange and the soy sauce are really key to this meal. you only want to keep this boiling for 2 or 3 minutes. I've got it on a low heat, so I'm going to do it for a little bit longer just to make sure it times in with the rice, which is about 3–3.5 minutes off. That space of time while you're not stirring is a good time to get rid of all the mess that you've made. In my case, it's quite a lot. If you're any good, you might manage to make a lot less mess. Fantastic. Like I said, if you want to, you can add some sliced orange peel, just some very thin strips at the end. I'm not going to, but you can. Just turning the heat up a little bit. You can see, we'll take it off for a second, you can see the beans have begun to get a bit browner. That's partly from the sauce and partly from the steak. But once they've got to that point, you know that it's perfectly edible. And if you want to do it a little bit more, then that's up to you, depends on how you like yours done. And that's covered really nicely. You can see that the steak has taken on a bit of an orangey texture. So that's from the sauce. And that's what I'm looking for, just to make sure that every piece has that extra bit of taste. Now, the rice is just about done. So I'm going to leave that on the lowest heat, cooking to one side while I drain the rice. Straight in. Shake it away to get rid of all the unnecessary. As you can see, that's a nice small portion. Just enough for one. This is best in a bowl actually, if you can. But if you can't, plate is perfectly fine. Before that gets overdone, off that goes. You can see most of the sauce is drained away or drained into the steak and the beans. Just what's going to make it turn out so nice. Just pop that onto the top, nice and sparse, you don't want too much. And that's your dinner.